Hey y'all. Hi. Hello. How you doing? Okay, let me put my headphones in so you can hear me a little bit better. So here's what we're going to do. Hold on a second. Can you guys hear me? You can hear me all right? Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We've got this awkward setup where you can see me, but I cannot see you. And I put together a really awesome interactive workshop. I'm going to be reading everything that you're saying in the chat. I'm going to be talking to you about your app idea. Like, we're really going to be workshopping this idea that you have, or building an idea for you for an app and tech business. So it would be helpful if I had a better sense of who you are and a little bit about you. So to do that, and to kick this off before I start sharing my screen and teaching you a bunch of great stuff, I would love if you can just introduce yourself into the chat. So tell me your name, city, and profession. Tell your name, city, and profession into the chat. And that's how we can kick this off and get started. So I'll give you a second to do that. Tell me your name, city, and profession. Awesome. I see Monique is a computer instructor, is in Queens. Nicole is in Hayward, is a family unit coach. Got it. Dami is in Calgary, Canada, and is a technologist. Awesome. Randy goes by Karuchi, is in Chicago and is a model. Very cool. Let's see what else we got here. Ebony is in Maryland and is a recovery specialist. Very cool. Okay, keep doing exactly what those folks just did. Type into the chat and tell me your name, city, and profession just to get us going so I can get to know you a little bit. And then what I'm going to do in a moment is I'm going to share my screen, but just keep introducing yourself for a moment before we get going. All right. Let's see, who else do we have here? Anthony is in Los Angeles and is in sales. Christopher wants to know what date it is. I'm assuming you want to know if this is live and if I'm actually talking to you. Yes, it is. Lydia is in Atlanta and is a finance manager. Awesome. Jen is in Canada, works in the personal care industry. Perfect. Keep introducing yourself. If you have not introduced yourself in the chat, please do that. Please do that. I want to get to know you a little bit. Let's see here. Ty is in North Carolina and is a real estate and also a graphic designer. Awesome. Christina is in Ohio. Got it. Is independent Herbalife distributor. Very cool. Okay. So keep introducing yourself if you have not already done that. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share my screen. Let me know when you can see my screen full screen. Sometimes it takes a second to kick in. So let me know when you can see it. I'm in this really cool space. They've taken like all these reclaimed materials and turned them into the walls. It's pretty cool. Okay, let me know when you can see my screen. Edna is from Atlanta, is a mother of two and a student. Very cool. Jay is from Washington, Everett, Washington. Is an entrepreneur. Awesome. Cool. Nice to meet you guys. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Let me know when you can see my screen and then we can get going on this. Let me know you can see it. Yes. Okay, perfect. Awesome. So today, what we're talking about is how to go from an idea, just an idea that you have in your head, to actually generating income from that idea in 60 days. So a 2-month process from the idea to money in the door. And actually often happens way faster than that. So specifically what we're talking about is how to come up with an app idea, how to build it without any tech people, and how to charge people money to use it. Those three things. Now, before we get into the meat of this workshop, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping. So do you see the button at the top of your screen that says reconnect? You see a button that says reconnect? If for any reason you're not able to hear me, please click that reconnect button and it'll get us kind of refreshed. Also, if other people are not able to hear me, there's some sort of connection issue, let them know that they need to hit reset or they need to click press play to get started. So if you can help me with that, that would be awesome. Sometimes people get stuck with that. So that's just important things for you to know. And also the other thing, important housekeeping, is I expect you to participate in this workshop. Type into the chat. I'm reading what you're saying. I'm answering questions. Like, I really like to make these interactive so that we can actually work through some ideas that you personally have. Cool. Okay, so how to come up with an app idea, how to build it without any tech people, and how to charge people money to use that app. So I'm super pumped that you're here. Welcome to the workshop. And before I started this workshop a couple days ago, I sent an email to a few of you guys, and I had a question for you. Really, my question was, why did you sign up for this workshop in the first place? And a bunch of you guys emailed me back letting me know why you decided to sign up for the workshop. And you said a bunch of different things. So some of you said that you currently have a 9-to-5 job, but you were hoping that in 2019, you can take more control over your own earning potential. And what I mean by control over your own earning potential is that right now you likely have a job that tells you how much you make. They decided your salary. But how come you can't make more than that? How come you can't have other streams of income, right? We're going to be talking about that. But a lot of you decided that you wanted to come to this workshop so you could take more control over your earning potential. Now, other people said that they wanted to get started and come to this workshop because they did not want to be affected by layoffs or government shutdowns or the economy. Anyone thinking about this? Let me know in the chat if these are things that you're thinking about and planning for. I know a lot of folks told me this in the chat. So let me know before this workshop. So let me know. I'm just going to type something to the chat for people who are stuck. Okay, perfect. Okay, so a lot of people said this, right? Jamila says, yes, I know a lot about this. Got it. Now, other people told me that they have had an app idea for a long time now. Like it's been weeks or maybe months or maybe years that they have had this app idea and they're kind of just stalling on it right now, but they really want to get going with it. And that's why they came to this workshop. Now, other of you guys told me that you don't have an app idea yet, but you would like to come to this workshop so you can get some help coming up with a good idea or really refining your idea to make sure it's a strong one, right? Really good reason to come. Other people told me that they already had an app idea. Like they don't need help coming up with a new one, but they're not sure how exactly that app idea is going to make real income. Let me know in the chat if this is you, where you have an app idea, but you're not really sure exactly how you're going to make real income from it. You're still trying to figure that out. Right? Joseph says residual income is what I'm looking for. Got it. Anthony says I want passive source of income. Cool. And some of you guys are already entrepreneurs. Like this is not your first time at the entrepreneurship rodeo, but you're not quite as successful as you want to be. You want to do more. You want to add technology to your business, all those great things, right? But one of the cool things and interesting things about what everybody replied to me and said when I asked them why they decided to come to this workshop, one of the interesting things was that in general, you guys told me that you wanted to work less, you wanted to travel more, and you wanted to do it on your own terms. So for some of you, that meant that you wanted to have a side hustle, something that you do to complement your existing job. And for some of you guys, you said, nope, I want to become an entrepreneur full time. Either way, you wanted to be able to live the life that you want on your own terms. And I totally get that. I'm all about that for myself and for others too. So I love that. So I want you to know that if any of those reasons that I just mentioned resonate with you, that any of those reasons are why you are here at this workshop, you are absolutely in the right place. We're going to break this down step by step and really have you leaving this workshop with a lot of clarity about what you're going to do next, what you need to do next. So I like to be super transparent about what my goals are for this masterclass. So I'm just going to walk you through what my goals are. My first goal is to work with you. I mentioned this is going to be an interactive workshop to build a plan for creating a side hustle and some additional income that can cushion you in 2019. That's my first goal. I want to make sure you have a plan for that. My second goal is to help you take your existing knowledge, stuff that you already know, not stuff you have to go learn, but stuff that you already know and turn it into an app idea that you can charge people real money to use. Okay. And my third goal for this masterclass is to show you a method, like a step-by-step method that you can follow, that you can use to avoid spending $20,000, $30,000 to hire someone to build your app. And I don't know if you know this, but that is how much it costs to have someone build an app for you if you hire a company, right? So how to avoid spending $20,000 or how to avoid spending a whole year struggling to learn about app programming, right? You don't want to do any of those things. I'm going to show you a method that you can use. So before we jump into the details of this, I want to introduce myself a little bit. Some of you guys we've met before, but others we've never met. We haven't talked much. So I wanted to talk about this. Courtney says, I'm able to see others, but not in a live. Yeah, Courtney, I think you're going to need to press play. I don't know if you can hear me, but you need to press play in the center first. Okay, so I want to introduce myself really quickly before we jump into this. Harsh says, just like you're reading my mind. I love it. I have been in your shoes as an entrepreneur, starting out, trying to figure out how to build a technology company. So I know a lot about what this process looks like. But introduce myself. So my name is Tara Reed, and I am a tech entrepreneur. Before becoming an entrepreneur, I used to lead marketing initiatives at Google, Foursquare, and Microsoft. So my background is in tech, but I was not the person who was building the apps, right? Even at those tech companies, I was working on the marketing team and on the business side of the organization. So I wasn't creating any apps myself. I didn't even know how to create any apps myself. And in 2014, I founded a really successful art startup. And I built the company's app and algorithm without writing any code. And so this process, the process I'm going to teach to you today of coming up with strong app ideas, of building them without any tech people, and then charging people real money to use the app, got me in my first year of entrepreneurship, year one, in my first year, $150,000 in revenue and $300,000 from investors who said, I love what you're doing. Here's some money. I want to see you take it to the next level. Okay. So I've been super blessed to be featured in some awesome publications. Entrepreneur Magazine featured me in their Young Millionaires edition last year. Forbes has done some really fun articles on how to succeed in Silicon Valley when you don't look like Mark Zuckerberg. And I've done a really fun TED Talk that has now over 300,000 views. Some of you guys have seen the TED Talk. Let me know in the chat if you've already seen this talk. Just curious. But I want to be super transparent with you guys about how I started. Because on day one of entrepreneurship, it was not a bunch of press and success and revenue. That is not what it looked like on day one. It's just not. So on day one, when I first came up with the idea for my first startup business, I was working a comfortable 9-to-5. I didn't hate my job, but I didn't love it either. It was just like, it was okay. It was good. It paid the bill. It was fine. My boss was a little annoying, and that was about it. Right. But I had some goals. Like I wanted to build my own app business so I wouldn't have to spend my whole life working for someone else's dream. Like I was working on Bill Gates's dream, not my own. Right. And so I wanted to be able to work on my own app business. I also wanted to be able to accomplish a couple other things. I wanted to pay off my student loans. Let me know in the chat if you know about this. Work less, travel more, and not have to be worried about money all the time. And also, I wanted some sort of shot at being able to retire early. Like those were all the things that were swirling around in my head. Like, how am I going to make this work? I need to come up with a plan, right? But the problem was I kept hitting a ton of roadblocks. I was mentioning earlier that I know a lot about what it's like to be in your shoes because I was hitting a bunch of roadblocks. So the first roadblock that I hit was that I did not have $20,000, $30,000 to hire someone to build my app for me. Like it just was not an option for me to do, right? Like that just wasn't an option for me. The second roadblock I was hitting was that I didn't have 1 to 2 years to learn how to code. Like I just didn't have a lot of time to just sit there learning, particularly when I had an idea. I wanted to get it in front of people. I wanted to even see if I could make this thing work. And I didn't have a bunch of years to just learn something before I could even test it out and see if the app idea was going to work in the first place. Right? And then also I was having a lot of trouble because I couldn't find the right tech savvy business partner to help me. I was, looking around, I was going to networking events, I was talking to people, but I couldn't find someone that I trusted enough to actually work with me on my business. And let me know if you know about some of these roadblocks. Some of you guys told me that you were hitting some of the same issues. Right? And so what happened was I knew that if I took too long, someone else was going to launch my app idea first. Like I was going to take way too long. Somebody else was going to get it. And I was starting to feel like a failure because it was taking me so doggone long to get going. Right? Now, in the middle of all of this, get this, in the middle of all of this, me trying to launch this business, Microsoft laid off 80,000 people. And I was one of them. Your girl was one of them. So I had no way to pay my bills. I ended up moving to Detroit with my best friend just to get back on my feet. I was totally embarrassed. I remember it took me like a couple months to actually tell my friends that I had lost my job just because I was embarrassed about it. I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Right. And so what I decided after all of that, what I decided was that I was not going to get stuck anymore. I was like, I refuse to be stuck. And so what I did was I taught myself this process of how to build apps without code, this process that I'm going to teach you today. Taught myself this process because I was like, screw it, I'm not going to get stuck anymore. Okay. So the first version of the app that I built got me my first $35,000 in sales and my first $100,000 investment from 500 Startups, which is a top tech accelerator in Silicon Valley. And they said, we love what you're doing. Here's $100,000 to continue growing it. Okay. And so I started blogging about my journey building apps without code. I did a TED Talk, which some of you guys just said into the chat that you've seen, on building apps without code. And I started coaching other entrepreneurs. I coached an entrepreneur named Josh who had an idea for an app to help schools teach music classes, particularly when their budgets got cut, right? He now has, after working with me, 23 schools who have written him checks and said, we love this app. We want to use it in our classrooms. Here's some money so that we can use it in our classrooms. And I worked with another entrepreneur named Patrick who had an idea for an app to help manufacturing plants and assembly lines become more efficient. And guess who was his first customer? Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola was the first customer of his app. They said, we want to use this. Here's a check so we can use it in multiple of our factories. Neither of these people knew how to code. Neither of these people to this day know how to code, but we worked through it and I showed them this process that I'm going to teach you. So overall, I've helped entrepreneurs generate over $1 million in app launch revenue. $1 million in app launch revenue. So let's pause for a second. What the heck does this have to do with you? Like, how does this all apply to you? Well, you also have an idea of becoming an entrepreneur. That's why you're here. That's why we're talking, right? You also cannot rely on a 9-to-5 job for all of your stability. I see in the chat, Tiffany, thank you for sharing this with us, by the way. Tiffany was saying, I actually lost my job this week, but I'm not discouraged. Yeah, like, here's the thing. We think that job security exists. Like, we think that that's a real thing. But the reality is that that company that you work for, that organization you're contracting for, they can reorganize at any point. They can restaff at any point. They can change it up at any point. All those things can happen, right? So we think that we have this 9-to-5 stability, but really you cannot rely on a 9-to-5 job for all of your stability. You just can't. You also, everyone here, is 100% qualified to build your own app idea. I'm going to show you exactly why and how to get at the app idea that you're most qualified for in a moment. And also, you can take your existing passions, stuff that you already know, and turn them into an app business. So how did I go from getting laid off from my job to building a $1 million tech empire? Like, what the heck happened in between? That's what we're going to talk about today. Let me know in the chat if you're ready for me to break this down. We're going to get into the meat of this now. That was a quick warm-up and introduction. Let me know if you're ready to jump right into this. Let me know into the chat. Let me know if you're ready to jump right into the meat of this. Let me know. Cool. And I appreciate you guys helping me help folks there are a couple people who can't see things. So I appreciate you helping me. Okay, Micah says, yes, please, in all caps. Jamila says, break it down, exclamation point. Rod says, break it down, girl. I love it. I love it. Yes, I'm ready. Awesome. Let's go. So ready, Shara says. Good. Mike says, yes, let's do it. Lee says, absolutely, honey, break it down. Let's do it, guys. All right. So let's break this down here. How to go from idea to income in 60 days. How to come up with a strong app idea, build it without any tech people, and charge people real money to use the app, right? So here's an overview of what you're going to learn today. Secret number 1, how to come up with a strong app idea in 15 minutes. That's secret number 1. Okay? Secret number 2, how to build an app yourself without any tech people. How to build an app yourself without any tech people. And secret number 3, how to charge people $50 a month or more for your app idea. Make sense? This is the agenda for the day. So can we jump right into the first one? Secret number 1, how to come up with a strong app idea in 15 minutes. Now, in order to understand this, what I need you to know is that there is a big difference between an app idea Anybody can come up with an app idea, right? An app idea and an app business idea. An app idea is dime a dozen. Anyone can come up with it. An app business idea requires a strategy. It requires you to understand how you're going to make money. It's going to require you to understand how you're going to get customers. It's an entire business. Coming up with an app business idea requires a strategy. So I want to introduce you to the SMART idea formula. And what the SMART idea formula is a series of questions to help you brainstorm an app idea that you are already 100% qualified to build, And give me 1 second. I'm going to type something into the chat just for people who are having some issues. Give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, perfect. I just wanted to give people a couple of notes. Some people were getting stuck on their phone. For some reason, it's been working funny in the phone. So we're talking right now about the SMART idea formula, this series of questions to help you brainstorm a strong app idea. So let me give you an example of how the SMART idea formula works. This is Joshua Head. Josh is an entrepreneur I have had the pleasure of coaching. And when I started working with Josh, the first thing that we did when we sat down to start talking was we went through his SMART idea formula. That was the first thing that we did. And in the SMART idea formula, all I did was I asked him 3 simple questions, right? Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you this story, and then in a moment, I'm going to have you share your answers to these same exact questions. So when I was talking to Josh, my first question to him was, what do you do for work? And he was like, oh, okay, that's easy. I'm a music teacher, right? And then I asked him a second question. I said, okay, great. You're a music teacher. Got it. Now, name one thing that you or your boss spends a lot of time on at work. And he thought about it, and he's like, well, I have to go to each of the individual schools, and I have to travel there in order to teach. And it's really time consuming to have to go to every single school. I kind of wish I could clone myself, right? So I asked him one third question. The third question I asked him was, let's say that you built an app that alleviates some of that stress. What could happen once someone logs in? Right? And he thought about it, and he wasn't really sure. And he was like, well, let's see. Let me brainstorm. Well, students could log in, and they could complete lessons. And people could work in teams to compose songs inside of the app. They could drag and drop different pieces of the song and compose a song. And teachers could give grades for that. And I could sell that to schools, right? He was just brainstorming. Okay. And it turns out this is actually a true story. Josh built an app for schools to teach music classes. He built the app. And he now has 23 schools. Most of the schools he works with are in the state of Virginia in the US. He's done $30,000 in revenue. And he's gotten a $50,000 investment from people who said, here's some money. We love what you're doing. We want to see you take it to the next level. And he did all of that in 6 months. Like, came up with the idea, built the app, got 23 schools to write him a check in 6 months. Right? And Josh says, this app is definitely a revenue generating endeavor. I did not know it would grow as quickly as it did. We got television and radio interviews in the process. It's been a blessing. So now I want to turn it to you. It is your turn to do the SMART idea formula. So I'm going to ask you some questions, and what I want you to do is to type the answer into the chat. Ready? Get ready to type. All right. So my first question to you is, what do you do for work? Let me know in the chat, what do you do for work? Let me know. What do you do for work? I'll give you a second to type that in. Okay, so let's see. I see merchant, cook, IT manager, nursing, sales. Got it. What else? What else? Image consultant, owner, ambulance driver. Got it. Author. Great. Customer service rep, clean energy for low income communities. Got it. Hairstylist, IT case manager. Got it. Got it. Business owner. Got it. Awesome. Adult education, IT support, retail fashion, music. Got it. Everybody knows what they do for work. Got it. And by the way, you can say things like stay-at-home mom, in between roles, looking for another role, looking for my next role. Those are all just fine answers to put in here. We'll use it in the activity. School counselor, student. Got it. Got it. Awesome. Okay, so now I have a second question for you. My second question is, name something that you or your boss spends a lot of time or effort on at work. You or your boss spends a lot of time or effort on at work. Let me know in the chat what takes a lot of time or effort. Let me know in the chat. Okay, other things you guys do. Freelancer, visual artist, school counselor. Got it. Business systems analyst. Awesome. Outreach. Perfect. Okay, so let me know what you or your boss spends a lot of time and effort on. It's like the annoying thing that everybody's complaining about because it's so time consuming. Meetings, notes and charting, assisting the elderly. When you say assisting the elderly, Kanisha, what do you mean by that? Virus removal, correcting behaviors, editing video clips. Got it. Advertisements, finding people to come on our TV show. Got it. So maybe emailing them and reaching out to people, finding people who are the right people to reach out to, retraining. Got it. Listening to students. Managing email, calls. Got it. What else takes a lot of time, is time consuming? Tracking inventory and setting appointments. Got it. Documenting for the state. Got it. Driving. Got it. Kind of transportation. Cool. Okay, got it. Now I have one last question for you. My last question is, and you'll just brainstorm some things in the chat. Let's say that you built an app to alleviate that stress that you just told me about. To alleviate that stress. What could happen once someone logs in that would help them with that stress? Just give me some ideas. So let's say you built an app to alleviate some of that stuff. People didn't have to deal with it anymore. It made it easier. What could happen once someone logged into your app? Got it. So connecting clients with local practitioners. Got it. These are the things that are time consuming. Got it. Got it. Deciding priorities when everything is a priority. Got it. Yeah, what could happen inside of the app now that would help people and would alleviate some of that stress? Let me know in the chat. They could buy merchandise. They could have a one button push to install software. They could order and design things. Provide glasses and exam for underprivileged students. Yeah, got it. Got it. Cool. You could chat with your manager. You could do planning and development. You could give people remote access. Got it. You could upload architect plans. Got it. What else could your app do? It could do training and actually train them through the process. Absolutely. Or connect them with trainers. They could design their own merchandise. They could get meal prep ideas and health tips. Got it. The client could send a message to the case manager directly. Yeah, got it. The business would execute on more sales. Yeah, specifically how, James? Tell us how. They can connect with casting producers. Exactly. So you're kind of taking a look at what you could do to solve that issue, that thing that's annoying and time consuming. So let me give you another example, because this is not the only way that the SMART idea formula can work. I want to show you one more way. This is Carlos Rivera. Carlos is another entrepreneur I've had the pleasure of coaching. And when I sat down with Carlos, he gave me answers to his own questions. Now, if you want in the chat right now, you can give me your answers to these questions. This is a slightly different way of doing it. So the first thing I did when I sat down with Carlos is I asked him, what is one thing you like to do in your free time? You can tell me in the chat right now. What's one thing you like to do in your free time? When I asked Carlos, he thought about it and he was like, well, I like to play basketball, right? So I was like, okay, got it. Play basketball. Got it. Let me know in the chat what's one thing you like to do in your free time though. And then I asked him a second question. I said, okay, well, what is one thing that is hard or time consuming about that hobby? And he thought about it and he was like, well, one thing that's really annoying is I have to figure out which courts are available when I want to play. So sometimes the court is full and I get there and I have to wait a long time. Sometimes there's not enough people to play, and that kind of is annoying and time consuming. Let me know in the chat, by the way, for you, what is one thing that is hard or time consuming about the hobby that you love to do? Just brainstorm something. Let me know in the chat. Awesome. And then I asked Carlos one last question. I said, let's say, hypothetically, that you built an app to alleviate some of that stress. What could happen once someone logs in? And he thought about it. And he said, well, maybe gyms could let their members log in and they could see which courts are free and they could book the court in advance. And maybe I could sell this to different gyms and I could put the gym's branding onto the app, kind of let the gym take credit for having their own app portal that I provided for them. Like, it was just brainstorming. But this is a true story and what actually Carlos ended up doing with that idea. So he built an app for gyms to let people book basketball courts. Guess who was his first customer? The YMCA. The YMCA said, great, we want to pilot your app in one location. We're going to pay you $300 a month just for that one location. And Carlos did all of this in 4 months, like came up with the idea, built the app, and got the YMCA as his customer in 4 weeks. 4 weeks, a month, right? So I like to show this as an example of how to think through your smart idea formula, because you might be thinking, well, wait a minute, Tara, I really want to build an app, but I'm not sure if I'm qualified to build an app. I don't know if I know enough about building an app or about the industry or all those things. But the thing is, when you use the smart idea formula, you guarantee that you are an expert in that space. You already know a lot about what it takes to do your job. You already know a lot about your hobby. And so when you use the smart idea formula, it points you in the direction of an app idea that you can really hit the ground and run with because you are already an expert in it, right? And that is secret number 1, how to come up with a strong app idea in 15 minutes. Cool. Is this giving you just like a couple ideas swirling around in your head? Hopefully this is giving you some ideas. Let me know in the chat you're starting to have some ideas pop up for you or starting to get some clarity on some stuff. Now, can we move on to secret number 2? Ready? Ready to move on to secret number 2? Secret number 2 is everyone's favorite secret. And secret number 2 is how to build an app yourself without any tech people. How to build an app yourself without dealing with the tech people. Got it. Wade says, yes, I'm getting some ideas going in my head. I love it. I love it. All right. So how to build an app yourself without any tech people. Now, most people think when they come up with an idea for an app, when they come up with one, they think that the first thing they need to do is hire an expensive agency to help them build the first version of their app. Let me know in the chat if you thought that the first thing that you needed to do was hire an expensive agency to build the first version of your app. Let me know in the chat. It's totally fine. All right. Now, here's the thing. There's absolutely nothing wrong with taking this route. The only challenge is that on average, it's going to cost about $20,000 and up for you to hire someone to build an app for you. And you guys can let me know in the chat if people have told you and how much it would cost. You tell me what they said to you. But a lot of you guys know about this because you've had this experience. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Now, other people say like, okay, I'm not going to hire someone to build an app for me. But what I do need to do is I need to find a tech-savvy business partner to help me and be my partner before I start. Anyone in the chat trying to find a tech-savvy business partner? And I see some things in the chat. Wade says, yep, 25K is what they told me. Ioana says they told me 50K. Tony says 75K. Rashid says 30K. Got it. Yeah, this is how much it usually looks like to cost. Lee says 100K. Yeah. Ingo says I was quoted 100K. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So most other people are trying to find this tech-savvy business partner. And again, there's nothing wrong with taking that approach. The only challenge is that finding a business partner is as important as finding the person that you're going to marry. And that if you guys are not on the same page, you're not aligned on what it is that you're trying to do with the business, you can easily crash and burn this company, right? Easily, right? So you don't want to rush this process. Now, other people say, okay, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to teach myself the basics of how to code in order to build this app. That's how I'm going to do it. Let me know in the chat if you've been thinking about teaching yourself the basics of how to code and that's something you've been thinking about and trying to figure out. Let me know in the chat if you've been thinking about that. I saw a couple of people were saying this, that they did. They were thinking about teaching themselves how to code. Again, there's nothing wrong with taking this route. The only challenge is that it takes about a year for you to get proficient enough in building the level of complexity of the app that you need in order to really get good at it. Tony says, that's me. I already did it. It took me 18 months. Yeah, it takes a long time. right? And you may not have that kind of time to just learn something new, right? So what ends up happening is most people hit all of those roadblocks and they completely put their app idea on the back burner. They're like, it's not possible. I'm not a tech person. I just can't do this right now. I'll do it later. And they end up letting someone else take their idea because they took so doggone long, right? Jen says, I'm too busy to learn how to code. Got it. So actually, you don't have to do any of those things that I just mentioned. You don't have to do any of those things. Actually, you can create apps by using code-free software. Code-free software. Let me tell you what I mean by code-free software. Thomas says, is this actually live or is this a recording of you, Tara? Nope, I'm actually live. All right. So code-free tools or code-free software let you design apps by drag, drop, point, click, just like you would design a PowerPoint presentation. And then you logically tell the app what to do in English. Not in some other coding language that you have to learn, but in English, which you already know. So it works. You drag, drop, point, click. You design the app however you want. And then you logically tell the app what to do, right? In English. So a logic statement is the thing that tells the app what to do. A logic statement is the thing that tells the app what to do. Let me give you an example of a logic statement that you already understand. You already understand this. If I push the first domino, then the other dominoes will fall, right? If this, then that. It's a really simple sentence. There's nothing confusing about this sentence. We all understand this sentence, right? Let me give you another example. If the user clicks the button, then log them in, right? If this, then that. Really simple sentence structure. No one's confused by this. So my tip for you is to find logic-based software that you can use to create your app. There are a ton of logic-based software tools out there for you to use. You do not have to use all of them. You just have to find the best one or two that are right for the type of app you personally are looking to build. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to walk you through some examples of logic-based software tools you can use to create your app. We'll start with some beginner ones and then we'll get fancier as we go along. Cool. And Wade wants to know in the chat, are the tools you're getting ready to show me free? All of them allow you to start for free. And then as you get more users, the prices range from $20 a month to $60 a month, 20 to 60, which is a big difference from the $20,000 you might spend trying to get your app built. So the first tool I want to show you is Wix. Wix is the name of the first tool. You can see all the names of the tools I'm showing you in the bottom corner. So the first tool I want to show you is called Wix. Wix is known for creating websites. However, you can also use Wix for creating apps. People log in with their username and their password and they enter the inside of the app. For example, you can create a flight booking system where people select the dates and the locations of their flight and they want a window seat or an aisle seat in a vegan meal or a vegetarian meal and it books that flight and itinerary for them. Or you could create an app that's like a Yelp-like ratings and review system. So people can tell you what they thought of the Manhattan cocktail bar, for example, right? So Wix allows you to create your own member login portal apps. People log in and there's custom information behind the login. Now, AppSheet is another really cool tool that you can use to create your own app. Now, AppSheet allows you to take a spreadsheet of information and instantly turn your spreadsheet into an app, right? Instantly turn your spreadsheet into an app. And some people were asking how advanced, how complicated can you get with AppSheet? Actually vary. So you have a whole sophisticated database and you can show images, you can show locations, plot directions from locations. People can type things in, sign for things, enter data. You can show graphs and charts of information as well. So AppSheet allows you to take a spreadsheet and instantly turn it into an app. Now, Mighty Networks is another really cool tool you can use to create your app. Now, Mighty Networks allows you to create your own social network app, So everybody gets their own profile. People can follow each other, like each other. There's a feed of everyone's posts. People can post into certain rooms and certain forums and communities. People can poll each other. People can message each other one-on-one, etc. So Mighty Networks allows you to have your own social network app. And this app can be on iPhone, it can be on Android, or it can be available on the web. Thinkific allows you to create your own education app. And what I mean by education app is there's lessons and videos and tutorial and audio and quizzes and things like that to teach someone something. So Thinkific allows you to create your own education app. Cloud Match allows you to create your own Tinder-style matching app, matching and recommendation engine. Stencil allows you to create your own video game without writing any code. And this video game can be on iPhone, iPad, Android, Windows, or on the web. Here's an example of a video game that was created by someone just like me and you who had an idea for a cool game but had absolutely no idea how to code. So what I want to do for a moment is I want to pause. I want to welcome you to the future. We are here. It's here now. Right? Welcome to the future. Because what I know and a lot of other folks in tech now know is that by 2025, most software won't be made by coders, but instead by people from diverse backgrounds using logic. Because today, in order to build apps, you no longer need to be a software developer or use HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Perl, PHP, Python, any of those coding languages you may or may not have heard of. In fact, you don't even need to write a single line of code. So again, I want to welcome you to the future. We're here now, where there are a ton of tools out there for you to build the exact kind of app that you're looking for. The exact kind of app that you're trying to build. We just have to find the right tool for you. Okay. Now there was a question in the chat. Dana says, what? Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. April says it's a very good presentation thus far. I'm so glad that you like it. There was a question. Jamie says, Tara, you lit. Where are you from? I'm from California. Okay. But I saw a question, and the question was from Wade. Do you have total rights to the app when you create on these platforms? Do I have rights to it? And the answer is yes. These platforms work just like, let's say that you were an author and you used Microsoft Word to write your book, right? Microsoft does not own your book. You own it. You just happen to use their tool to write the book, right? So it works the same way. They do not own your content or your book or any of that stuff, right? Make sense? Lorna says, but wow, I love it. Okay, so you might be thinking now, okay, wait a minute. All this stuff that you're showing me is really cool, but I don't have time to build an app myself. Like, I just don't have that kind of time. So I want to show you something. I want to introduce you to Charisse Murphy. Charisse is another entrepreneur I've had the pleasure of coaching. Now, Charisse is an author. I love authors. I have nothing against authors, but authors are not necessarily known for being the world's best app developers, right? But Charisse built an app, which is an online social platform for sci-fi and comic fans. Right? And I helped her build her app. She's a finalist on the TV show Planet of the Apps with Gary Vaynerchuk, Jessica Alba, Gwyneth Paltrow, Will.i.am, etc. And it works kind of like Shark Tank, right? And so Charisse says, I got a professional developer, and I spent 9 months and almost $9,000 to get practically nothing. But after using Tara's Apps Without Code system, within 2 hours, I had built the first model of my app myself. So from 9 months of struggling and spending $9,000 trying to hire people to build her app to 2 hours having the first model of her app built herself. That's a big difference, right? So reality check here. This is a reality check for you. It does not take a lot of time if you use a proven system. Sure, if you're out there trying to figure out how to do it yourself and you're just taking your own path, maybe it'll take a long time. Right? But if you use a proven system, it does not take a lot of time. You can get from here to the money to the app real quick, right? And that is secret number 2, how to build an app yourself without any tech people. Cool. Can we move on to secret number 3? Are you guys ready? Let me know in the chat if you're ready to move on to secret number 3. Let me know. Wilson, I expect that it will take you no more than 60 days to have your app built. If you're using a process, to have your app built and have customers for it. Cool. All right, let's move on to secret number 3. I see you guys are ready. Let's do it. So secret number 3 is how, now that you have this idea for an app, now that you know that there are tools out there for you to build it and you learned about some of them, let's talk about making money from this thing, because that's the point here, right? We want to make money from this business. So secret number 3, how to charge $50 a month or more for your app idea, right? Now, most people think, or they assume, that their app idea needs to be free or 99 cents. Let me know in the chat if you thought that your app needed to be free or 99 cents or like $3, $5, something like that. Let me know in the chat if that was something you were thinking. Okay, let me know. Now, please do not do this. Do not do that. If you charge 99 cents for your app, you're going to be broke for at least the first few years. Why? Because it takes a lot of 99 cents to pay your bills. Like, you're welcome to do the math. You can calculate how many 99 cents you need to scrape together to pay your bills, or how many $5 you need to pull together to pay your bill. It's going to be a lot. So why do that to yourself? Don't do it. So reality check again, your app should not be free or 99 cents or anywhere close. So that might be a huge paradigm shift for you. You might be like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? I see all the apps in the App Store, they're free and they're 99 cents. What do you mean? So I want to give you a couple ways, a couple things mentally to kind of shift the way that you are imagining your price. This will help you a lot. So the first thing that I want you to think about is, who are the fast lane customers with disposable income that you can target? Who are the fast lane customers with disposable income that you can target? Let me tell you what I mean by that. Let me break that down. So when you think about your app idea, there are a ton of people who would be interested in using it, right? You can imagine lots of people who would want to use it. But everybody who might use your app, all your potential customers, fall into one of three lanes. So some people are in the slow lane. These are people where if you sit down with them, you talk to them, you explain things to them, explain the value of the app, they'll eventually get it. They'll come around eventually. These are people in the slow lane. You've got to explain it to them, present the information, they'll eventually get it, right? Then you've got people who are on the sidewalk. This is my grandma, right? Like, no matter what you tell her, she's not going to download your app. She's not going to do it, right? We all know someone they're not going to do the new cool thing or use the new technology. They're just not doing it. Let me know in the chat if you know somebody like that. Right? And then there are people who are in the fast lane. These are people who yesterday they were Googling trying to find a solution to their problems. And they called their friend and they were complaining to their friend about how they wish someone would just launch a doggone company to help them fix this issue, right? They're actively looking for you. They've been looking for you, right? So ideally, you want to do is you want to focus on the fast lane customers only when you launch a company. You want to identify who the fast lane customers are, and specifically, you want to focus on fast lane customers with disposable income. So let me give you an example of how this would work. Let's say that you had an idea for an app that helps you track groceries, right? So you could, with this app, target the everyday person. You could do that. But the challenge is that the everyday person is kind of strapped for cash. So they may only pay you $2, $3, $5, something like that for the app, right? But the alternative is to think about who are the fast lane customers with disposable income who would be interested in this. And in order to do this, you have to go specific and look at specific audiences. So for example, you could target recent graduates of business school or law school. They've just finished schooling, they've just landed into a cool job, and they're thinking about what it is that they need to do in order to impress everybody at that job. So they're staying late, they're ordering Uber Eats to bring dinner to them, they're paying $5 for every one of those deliveries, and they're just fine with that. They're not even complaining about that. Or they're using Instacart to have their groceries delivered to them, and they're spending $150 a year on stuff like that, doing it regularly, right? So these people are fast lane customers. They're already spending money on things. They're already looking for you. And so my question to you is, you can let me know in the chat, can you guys hear me? Let me pause for a second. Can everyone hear me? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. It looks like some people are having issues, and I can refresh on my end. If you cannot hear me, let me know if you can hear me. I'll pause for a second and see if folks can hear me. Lee says basically a customer persona. Yes, a customer persona, but you want to weed people out who are not fast lane customers. You only want to focus on the fast lane folks with disposable income to start. Great. Okay. It sounds like you guys can. Okay. All right. Good. All right. So let me know in the chat some ideas you have. Who are the fast lane customers with disposable income for your business? Let me know in the chat who those people might be. Be specific if you can. Okay. Now, The second thing, that's the first thing I want you to think about. Who are the fast lane customers with disposable income? That's the first thing. Now, the second thing I want you to think about, in terms of thinking about how you can charge more, because the fast lane customers with disposable income, they're ready to go. They're ready to pay money, right? So the second thing I want you to think about is, how could you white label the app for a business who will pay you, right? How could you white label the app for a business who will pay you? So let me break this down and tell you what I mean by that. What do I mean by white labeling? Well, white labeling means you design the app and then you take your logo off and you put the company's logo on. So you find another company who wants to be your customer and you put their logo on the app and you charge them more money to take credit for the app, right? To take credit. They have their own version. Now you can have 20 different customers who have their own version of the app. That's totally fine. Right? But that's what white labeling means. You take your logo off and put your logo, their logo on, right? So remember I told you about Josh's music app, this app to teach music classes? Remember we talked about this? So at first, Josh assumed that he should charge parents, right? He should charge parents. And he expected he was going to charge like $50 a month for the subscription. That was his plan, right? But then he asked himself, what kinds of companies or organizations would want their own version of the app? That's what he asked himself. What kinds of companies or organizations would want to have their own version of this app? And he thought about it. And he said, well, the schools would. The schools would like to have their own version. And so instead of charging directly to the parents, he decided to charge the schools instead, which meant that he could charge $5,000 at a time for a whole school to have access to his app. So he went from $5 of charging to $5,000 charging. Big difference here, right? So let me know in the chat, what ideas does this spark for you? Who are the kind of companies or organizations that would be interested in having their own version of your app? Let me know in the chat what kinds of companies or organizations would be interested. He says, white label, genius. I love it. April says, girl, you're snapping. I love it. Yeah, somebody was asking me as well in the chat, what do I do if my app is for youth? I can't charge the youth. Well, you find an organization that serves youth that would like to have their own awesome app portal for those youth, and you charge them. They can use their grant funding, go raise money for that, all sorts of things, right? And that is secret number 3, how to charge real money, $50 a month or more for your app idea. Is getting some ideas flowing for you? All right. So I just want to pause for a second and check in. Let me ask you a question and let me know the answer in the chat. Is this helpful? Are you guys learning stuff? Let me know in the chat if this is helpful and you're learning stuff. I just want to check in for a moment. All right. Gotcha. Got it. Very cool. Yeah, Shante says, love this. Got it. Terry says, yes, with lots of A's. Got it. Kiva says, yes. Got it. Awesome. Latoya says, yes. Tony says, OMG, yes. I love it. Okay, good. Lorna says, mind blown. Heck yeah. I am so glad. Yeah, I'm glad this is helpful. It is important to me to be helpful. Good. All right. Terry says, I'm ready to log off and get started now. Awesome. Incredibly helpful. Perfect. Okay, good. I am glad. Yes, shortened my learning curve a lot. I'm so glad. So here's a quick recap of what you've learned thus far. Secret number 1, how to come up with a strong app idea in 15 minutes. Secret number 2, how to build an app yourself without any tech people. And secret number 3, how to charge $50 a month or more for your app idea. So let me know in the chat. Let me know if this is getting a lot of ideas flowing for you and you want to take what you just learned and take it to the next level. Like actually apply it into your own business idea and get going with it. Let me know in the chat if you're thinking about how to take stuff to the next level. Let me know in the chat. Awesome. I love it. And give me 1 second. I am going to move over to the side of the room so I can plug in my computer. Give me 1 moment. I'm going to charge it. Okay. All right. I don't want to lose battery on you guys. Okay. Got it. Ashley says, next level, please. Next level me, please. I love it. 70 says, is it only Wix? No way. I showed you a bunch of other tools you can use as well. Eric says, I'm there. Awesome. She says, yes, ma'am. Okay, cool. So I want to show you an opportunity that you can use to take yourself to the next level and actually implement the things that you just learned. So it's called Apps Without Code Bootcamp, and it is a really awesome program that I have put together. Now, what is Apps Without Code Bootcamp? It is an opportunity for you and I to work together for 2 months. That's what it is. And it includes a bunch of different things. We're going to do a bunch of stuff. There's personalized coaching. I'm going to be helping you through the process. There's video tutorials. I've broken down all the things you need to do step by step. And you're going to get the community that you need to start clarifying your app idea, building it, and making money from it. So I have a question for you. Let me know the answer to the question in the chat. So what if you could get my help and launch your app business in the next 60 days? Type I'm in into the chat if you would be in for that. If you could get my help and launch your app business in the next 60 days, have it out there, app built, have customers going for it, all of that. Get your app launched in the next 60 days. Type I'm in into the chat. Awesome. Christina says, I'm already in. I love it. Or what if you could have weekly access to your own startup coach who could help you stay on track, help you not get distracted from the stuff that's not important, help you not waste time or energy or money on the stuff that's not important? Type I'm into the chat if you'd be into that. Or what if you could learn, this is a good one, let me talk to you through this one. There's some math here. What if you could learn how to make your app a premium $50 a month or more experience, so that if you did that, you would only need 170 signups to make an extra $100,000 this year? Type I'm in into the chat if you'd be in for that. 170 signups in. That's all you need. Right? See lots of I'm in. I love it. So Apps Without Code Bootcamp is all about helping you finally build this app idea that you have been stalling on. Because some of y'all have had this app idea for weeks. Some of you guys have had it for months. Some of you guys have had it for years. It's just been a long time, right? And it's also about helping you get a high quality app without spending a ton of time or money or letting someone else take your idea and execute on it because you took so doggone long, all right? So I want you to know that I'm opening enrollment right now for my spring and summer classes of bootcamp, which means that I'm looking for new entrepreneurs to work with. I have a limited number of seats of new entrepreneurs that I can work with, but enrollment is now open for me to work with new entrepreneurs. So I want to walk you through what the program looks like, the different parts of it, so you're really clear on how this program works. So the first part of the program is the course. This is where I put all the things I wish I knew. I wish someone had told me when I started building apps myself. So there's step-by-step video lessons, there's tutorials, there's templates, there's guides. It literally walks you through all the steps. Plus, for all the templates, you can just click copy and make a copy of it and then just edit it for your own app, which just like cuts down the learning curve significantly because we don't have time to spend a lot of time on this. We need to get going with the business. All right, so this is what the online platform looks like when you get inside. So you can see all the different steps along the process, and then you can click on each of the steps, and it literally walks you through step by step everything that you need to do, right? Like it really breaks this down for you. So we do a bunch of different things across several weeks in the course. So I wanted to give you the agenda so you can really see what we're doing week by week, step by step. So on week 1, we're going to focus on pricing your course. Like, how much money should you spend on this? Or how much should you charge for it? Is it $29 a month? Is it $5 a month? Can you white label it and do $5,000, right? Like, how do you price your app? On week 2, we're going to find your perfect customers. These are the fast lane customers with disposable income who exactly we're going to target within that category first. On week 3, we're going to pre-sell your app. Now, what do I mean by pre-sell your app? What I mean by that is that we're going to get people to pay you money to use the app before you're even done building it. Why are we going to do that? Well, the reason we're going to do that is because if you have pre-sold it, then you know for sure that you're building the right thing, that this is a good use of your time, right? And we can pre-sell it. And if people happen to say, no, that's not really something that I'm interested in or that I want to spend money on, all we have to do is ask them, well, what would you spend money on? And that way we can get right to exactly what it is that they want and what they're willing to pay for and make sure we're building that. And that's why we do this process of pre-selling your app. Danielle was saying, what about marketing? Does it include marketing? Yeah, that's what we're talking about now. Your pricing strategy, finding customers is marketing. Pre-selling your app is marketing, right? And on week 4, we're going to work on your website and your brand, more marketing. And then we're going to spend weeks 5, 6, 7, 8 actually building the app. So what you'll see is that the program is really half and half, strategy and marketing, and then the tech stuff. Because you have to have both working together in order for this business to work. You can't just have one and not the other, right? So that's part 1, of course. Part 2 is the community. And what I mean by a community is that you're going to have this wolf pack of other successful entrepreneurs to support you. Now, let me tell you why this is important, right? Most of you spend the majority of your time around people where all they know is what it's like to have a 9-to-5 job. Let me know in the chat if you spend your time around a lot of people who have 9-to-5 jobs. Like, you know what this is like. Because the thing is, those people often cannot understand what it is you want to do as an entrepreneur. They don't get it. You do not get this entrepreneur thing that you're talking about, right? Let me know if you know a little bit about this. Okay. So, and what's really important is that you put yourself around other entrepreneurs. It takes a completely different mindset to be successful in a 9-to-5 job as it does to be successful in an entrepreneur. And in order to make that transition, you have to surround yourself with people who think like entrepreneurs. Otherwise, it's very hard for you to make that transition. So you're going to get this wolf pack of other successful entrepreneurs to support you, right? This is an example of a post in the community. It says, hey guys, I'm about 90% to my launchable MVP. How about you guys? I was thinking we could test out each other's apps in a working session before we go live to our audiences. Maybe we could troubleshoot and help each other real time. Maybe we could do it Sunday hackathon style, right? So part 2 is you get access to this community to support you. Now, part 3 is my absolute favorite part of this program. It is why, for me, this program is so unique. And part 3 is that you get your own startup coach. Now, who's going to be your startup coach? I wonder. It's going to be me. So we're going to be working together on your business, and you're going to have your own startup coach. So when you're veering a little bit too far to the left, your coach will go, no, turn right, and get you back on track, right? To get your own startup coach as well. Now, this is Ashley Williams. Ashley built an app for schools to hire athletic trainers. So I don't know if you know this, but if you run a football team or a basketball team, anything at a school, you have to have an athletic trainer on staff just in case something happens, right? So Ashley started working with me with just an idea. She did not have everything figured out. She did not have everything squared away. She did not even have a website. She was still figuring everything out, and she did not have a plan. She started with just an idea, right? Since doing bootcamp, she now has 50 customers. She's done $3,000 in revenue, but she did all of that in 60 days. Like, came up with the app idea, built the app, and made her first $3,000 in 60 days. And this is what Ashley's app looks like. So you can log in, and you can enter information if you run a school about the sports team, the sports game you have coming up. So it's going to be at this time and this sport and all that information. And it matches you with an athletic trainer who can be there and available for your game, right? So Ashley says, I personally cannot function successfully without structure, even if that means it'll cost money. So from killing it in the gym with CrossFit to joining After That Club bootcamp, I personally do much better when I have a set plan to follow and an accountability group to check in with. A set plan to follow and an accountability group to check in with. I totally understand this because I am the same way. If I don't have a set plan to follow and the accountability group to check in with, I end up doing like whatever comes across my desk. It's not really all that, important. I have issues, right? But when I have a set plan to follow and an accountability group to check in with, I'm good. I'm good to go. I can get stuff moving fast and I'm productive. I know a lot of you guys are the same way. You can let me know in the chat if you were the same way. Okay. So I wanted to show you Ashley. And I want to show you one more example. This is Brittany Gerald. Now, Brittany is an entrepreneur who built an app for pharmaceutical companies to report their drug side effects to the FDA, the Federal Drug Administration, right? So before doing bootcamp, Brittany spent $30,000 trying to hire people to build her app for her, $30,000. And she still had no app and no customers. She was frustrated when I met her. But after doing bootcamp, she had a finished app. She had 2 large customers, but she did the white label thing. So each of those 2 customers gave her $10,000 each. For her first 2 customers, she made $20,000 with just 2 customers. So this is the structure of the program. The part 1 is the course, the step-by-step video lessons, templates, tutorials, and guides. Part 2 is the community, this wolf pack of other successful entrepreneurs to support you. And part 3 is that you get your own startup coach. We'll be working together to get this launched, right? So there are a ton of different types of people that bootcamp is really good for. But I want to particularly outline for you who this program works really well for. So bootcamp is really good if you are a working professional and you're getting kind of antsy Because you're tired of having your income limited by a 9-to-5 job. Like the job told you this is what your salary is, but you're like, how come I can't make more than that, right? Or add additional streams of income, right? It also works really well for existing entrepreneurs. So you already an entrepreneur, but you want to add more tech savviness to your business, right? It works really well for busy parents who want to work part-time on a lucrative business so they can spend the rest of their time with their family. And it works super well. This is you, by the way. It works super well for ambitious people who need to stop being stingy with their app idea. You've been holding on to it for a long time, not telling anybody about it, not launching it. Stop being stingy and bless the world with this awesome idea that you have. Right? So when I talk to people, there are really like 3 different reasons I often hear people don't get started. Like they're scared, usually scared of some things. So they're often scared it's going to take too much time, or they're scared it's going to take too much money to launch an app, or they're scared it's going to be too hard. Like those are usually like the 3 things I hear people say, right? And the thing is that when you have a coach, it doesn't take too much time, and it doesn't take too much money, right? It doesn't take much time because you have someone telling you all the steps. It doesn't take too much money because you don't have to waste a bunch of money doing a bunch of things that aren't important. And it's not too hard because you have a guide throughout the whole process, right? You just eliminate all of that when you get a coach. So there's Apps Without Code Bootcamp, and that includes a bunch of different things, but I've done a bunch of different lessons that you can do at your own pace. But in addition to that, we're going to work together live. So you're going to get 32 hours of live coaching with me. Plus, I'm going to give you access to this community, this wolf pack of other entrepreneurs, right? Now, one of the things that people often tell me is they're like, hey, Tara, this sounds really good. I would love to do bootcamp. I'm really excited about that, but I'm concerned because I don't have a bunch of money to spend launching my app. Let me know in the chat if this is something you're thinking about. You're like, I'm really excited, but I'm concerned because I don't have a ton of money to spend in getting this thing launched. Let me know in the chat. Right? Wilson says, we need to start right now. I love it. So if you were in that boat, if that's you, or you're thinking about like, I just don't have a ton of resources to actually get this thing going, I want to do something that's just going to make your life a little bit easier, right? To take something off your plate. So when you invest in bootcamp today, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to give you access. I'm going to pay your bills for your website costs for 3 months, because you probably are going to need a website so people know about what your app is, right? So I'm going to pay your bills. I recommend you use Wix to build your website. Do you have to use Wix to launch your website? No, right? But I recommend you use Wix. And if you do, I'm going to pay for your website costs for 3 months. Just pay your bills. So when you get access to Wix, you can have your website up and running by tomorrow afternoon. And you're not Googling how to build a website, trying to figure that out on your own. You're not begging your techie friends to help you. You're not spending $20,000 on a website development firm. You're not doing any of that stuff, right? So there's Apps Without Code Bootcamp. Plus, I'm going to pay for your website costs for 3 months, right? And by the way, when I do this kind of coaching for people, I often do this kind of coaching with folks in Silicon Valley. So I go to Silicon Valley, I work with existing startups. When I do that work with existing startups, I start my pricing at $10,000. I'm not going to charge you $10,000. But when I work with existing companies in Silicon Valley, I start my pricing there for the same kind of coaching, right? So it's After That Code Bootcamp, plus I'm going to pay for your website costs, right? But another thing people often tell me is they're like, hey, Tara, I'm really excited about bootcamp. I really want to do this, but I'm kind of concerned because my app idea is complicated, right? Like I need to do a lot of really fancy stuff. Let me know in the chat if your app idea is complicated and you need to do a lot of fancy stuff. Let me know if you're kind of worried about your app idea being complicated. Let me know. Let me know in the chat if you're worried about your app idea being complicated. Okay, let me know. Got it. So if this is you, if you're thinking about all the fancy things you need to do in your app, here's another bonus for you that I have. So when you invest in bootcamp today, another thing that I'm going to offer you is my advanced app guide. Now, what the heck is an advanced app guide? The advanced app guide is a step-by-step guide for you to do all the fancy stuff. So you can integrate APIs, you can build sophisticated databases, all sorts of fancy stuff like that, right? You can do locations and geography tracking. You can have a really awesome ability to pull in music from iTunes or data from Fitbit and use it into your app, all the fancy stuff, right? So you're not Googling how to do fancy stuff in my app. You're not wasting $20,000 trying to hire a development firm to do. You're not doing any of that, right? So for context, I made my first $300,000. I got my first $300,000 investment using this guide People saw what I built using the guide and were like, oh my gosh, here's some money. I want to see you take this to the next level, right? Josh, who I told you about, he made his first $30,000 in revenue using this guide. Patrick, who I told you about, the one who built the app and Coca-Cola was his first customer, he also did that and built this app for Coca-Cola using this advanced app guide. So the advanced app guide is literally just money for you to use to do the fancy stuff. So there's Apps.Code Bootcamp, plus I'm going to pay for your website costs for 3 months, plus there's the advanced app guide for doing all the fancy stuff, right? Now, the last thing that people often tell me is they're like, okay, here's the thing. I'm really excited about Bootcamp. I'm really excited about building an app, but here's a challenge. I'm concerned because I'm not a salesperson and I'm not a marketing person. So I'm really excited about building the app, but I don't know how to get customers to sign up for it and pay me. Anyone concerned about that? Let me know in the chat if you're thinking about, oh my gosh, how do I actually get people to pay me for this thing and do the marketing part for my app? Let me know if you're thinking about the marketing part of the app in the chat. So if this is you, if you're in this boat, I have one last bonus for you. And when you invest in Bootcamp today, the last thing I'm going to offer you is my 7-day email list builder. What is a 7-day email list builder? So the 7-day email list builder is your guide for doing all the marketing stuff. Specifically, I'm going to give you all of my email marketing templates to find new customers. So you can literally make a copy of my templates and it tells you what to write in the subject line, what to say in the email to a customer, what to say when they respond, how to find email addresses for your particular customers in the first place. It literally, you can just give you a script of what to do. So you're not Googling, you're not begging your marketing friends, you're not trying to run Facebook ads, which you should not be doing at this point. You should not be sitting down trying to write the text on the website or the text on the email, trying to be the world's best email writer when you know that's not your forte. You're not doing any of that. So there's Apps.Code Bootcamp. I'm going to pay for your website costs for 3 months. There's the advanced app guide for doing the fancy stuff, the 7-day emails builder for doing all the marketing stuff. Make sense? So I have a question for you. I want you to let me know the answer into the chat. If Apps.Code Bootcamp helped you create a business where you could charge $50 a month or more for your app so that you would only need 170 customers to make $100,000 this year, would it be worth it? Let me know in the chat. Would it be worth it? 170 customers to make $100,000 this year. Or if Apps.Code Bootcamp helped you build a wait list and an audience of customers, there's a wait list down the road, they're ready to go before you're even done building the app, would it be worth it? Let me know in the chat. Or if Bootcamp gave you weekly access to me as your own startup coach, would it be worth it? Or if it helped you not waste $10,000, $20,000 on developers and marketers, would it be worth it? Yes, because you would have a business up and running at that point. You can make a decision on if you wanted this business to accompany your existing job or if you wanted to leave that job and just be a full-time entrepreneur, right? It'd be totally worth it. So I want to remind you that I'm opening enrollment for my spring and summer classes, which means there's an opportunity right now open to work with me as your startup coach. And you might be wondering, well, wait a minute, how much does Bootcamp cost? I saw a couple people in the chat saying like, well, wait a minute, how much does this cost? Talk to me about all those details. So for context, if you hire someone to build an app for you, the prices are going to start at $20,000 and up. And you saw in the chat what everybody said, because some people have had people give them quotes before on how much it would cost. $20,000, $75,000, $35,000, etc. When I do this kind of training for entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley, I start my pricing at $10,000. But I put together a really awesome program for you to do. It's called Apps.Code Bootcamp, and the price for the program is $1,900, or you can split that up into 6 payments of $380 a month if that's easier for you. So $1,900, or you can split it up into 6 payments of $380 a month. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to post a link into the chat where you can check out Bootcamp. You can get enrolled. I actually see somebody already has found a link to Bootcamp and has already gotten signed up. Who is that? Who is in the chat already got signed up? So you can see the link right there into the chat. And just in case that's not working for you, I can give you, you can also go to join.appswithoutcode.com. Right? Cool. Okay. So here's what I want to do. I just want to tell you one more thing. Tasha, awesome. I'm excited to work with you, Tasha. Tell me why you decided to sign up for Bootcamp in the chat, Tasha. So, I have a couple more things I want to tell you. One more thing I want to tell you, really. And then what I want to do is I want to turn to questions that everyone has. Questions about your app, questions about Bootcamp. Let me tell you one last thing, and then I'm going to jump in and make sure everyone's questions get answered about their business. So hold your questions just for 1 second, and then I'm going to come answer everybody's questions. So as I mentioned, you can get signed up at join.appster.co.com or that link that I provided for you. So, it's not what I meant to do. Hold on a second. It's coming. I'm going to tell you one thing. So if you're curious about, well, wait a minute, what exactly are we going to do in bootcamp? Like, can you just remind me again what exactly we're going to do on bootcamp? So we're going to do two things. First of all, the first promise of bootcamp is that you're going to build the first version of your apps. Duh, right? Of course. The second promise of bootcamp is you're going to learn a clear process for getting your first 100+ customers. Those are the two promises. Just so that you're clear exactly what it is that you're going to be working on and focused on in bootcamp. Yeah? Okay, so let me share my screen because I have these two really awesome fast action bonuses for you guys. And so let me show you what these fast action bonuses are. These bonuses expire at midnight. They expire at midnight. So let me show you what they are. They say the early bird gets the worm. Let me share my screen with you again and show you. Okay. Can you guys see my screen? Well, it says, are these modules or are you live like now? So it'll be both. There are some modules for you to do. There's some things it's easier for me to give you a video of so that you can like rewind it if you need to and all that stuff. And in addition to that, we will also have live sessions like we are now. It won't quite be like we are now where you can see me, but I can't see you. It will be two-way. So you can see me and I can see you. So it'll go both ways. Right. Okay, so I have two fast action bonuses for you. These bonuses expire at midnight. The first bonus, I mentioned the price for bootcamp is $1,900, or you can split it up into 6 payments of $380 a month, right? However, the first bonus that I have for you is that when you pay in full today, I have a 10% discount for you on top of that price. And Tasha, who already signed up, yes, if you send me an email, I will get you these bonuses. We'll make a correction so you can still get these bonuses because I know you already signed up. You just signed up. So a 10% discount on top of the price. So it goes from $1,900 to $1,710. There's a discount when you pay in full. Now, unfortunately, that discount does not apply when you do the payment plan. It only applies when you pay in full, but it puts the price down significantly and makes it more affordable. So there's After That Code Bootcamp. I'm going to pay for your website costs for 3 months. There's the advanced app guide for doing the fancy stuff, the 7-day emails builder for doing all the marketing stuff, plus a 10% discount on top of that when you pay in full. Now, I want to be really clear that I have a refund guarantee. Why do I have a refund guarantee? Because one of the things that I'm really passionate about, it's like this is my life mission, is helping people have time freedom and financial freedom. Those two things combined, right? If you just have financial freedom, you're working all the time and you're in the office all the time, it doesn't count, right? If you just have time freedom, but you don't have the money that you need, it just doesn't work the same way either. So both of those things combined. So if you do the work in bootcamp and you feel like the course is not helping you get to that time freedom and that financial freedom that you want to have, after 7 days, I'm super happy to give you your money back. Now, you might be wondering, well, wait a minute. How do I know? How is a 7 days going to be enough time for me to know if I like bootcamp or not to really get a good sense of it? And the answer is yes. The reason why is because we're going to do a really intensive workshop the first few days of bootcamp together. And this is why you don't have to have everything already figured out before you do bootcamp. We're going to do an intensive together. So you'll have about 16 hours of coaching with me spread out over multiple days in that first week. So within the first week, you'll have 16 hours of coaching and you'll have a good sense by then if you want to continue bootcamp. So I mentioned there's 2 fast action bonuses. The first one was that 10% discount. It expires at midnight tonight. But the second one, because I mentioned there's 2, is that when you pay in full today, I have a second bonus for you. And the second bonus is that you're going to get a 2-hour live session with me. A 2-hour live session with me. And during this 2-hour live session, we're going to set up your app business plan. So we're going to implement the exact system that I personally use to launch apps, to usually get about 200 plus people on the wait list before I'm even done building the app, and to usually make 10K or more in the first month as a result. So we're going to research your perfect customer profiles, find those fast lane customers with disposable income. We're going to determine how much you should charge them, and I'm going to specifically show you a couple ways you can charge $50 a month or more for your app. And we're going to outline your email and social media marketing plan. So there's Apps Without Code Bootcamp. I'm going to pay for your website costs for 3 months. There's the advanced app guide for doing the fancy stuff, the 7-day email spiller for doing all the marketing stuff, plus a 10% discount when you pay in full, and the 2-hour live session when you pay in full. Cool? Makes sense? So if you want those bonuses, you want to enroll, go to the link that I gave you and type in the code FAST10. It has to be in all caps, FAST10, to get those fast action bonuses. Those bonuses expire at midnight. So what I want to do now is I want to turn it over to you, because I'm sure you've got lots of questions that are swirling around about bootcamp, lots of questions about your app idea. So I want to answer questions for you. Now, the first question that I see in the chat is from Tasha. Tasha says, I already signed up. I signed up before you told me about the discount. Do I still get the discount? Yes, I'm happy to honor that for you. If you send me an email to remind me, then I can refund you the amount, that like 10% discount. I'm happy to do that for you. Shar says, are boot camps only during the spring and summer? Great question. So I have spring and summer enrollment open now. I launch boot camp 1 or 2 times a year. So we probably won't launch another one this year. So probably maybe next year, maybe the next time that we do it. So I don't have enrollment open really often. And so if you want to get in, you want to jump in now. Now, one of the great things though about boot camp is you can set your own calendar. So as soon as you enroll, and actually let me show you this. So as soon as you sign up, this is the link that I gave you. As soon as you sign up, you're going to get to a second page. And that second page is going to allow you to set your own calendar. It'll ask you, which date do you want to start bootcamp on, for example, right? It'll just ask you. And you can look at your own personal calendar and decide when it makes sense for you to actually get started. So you can set your own schedule here. And the reason I do that is because when I started, I was working a 9-to-5 job. So I know exactly what it's like to be juggling a couple things and to have a schedule that you need to work around. So this is a page where you can get enrolled, and you can use PayPal as well. And right here is where you can type in FAST10, make sure it's all caps. And then when you click away, give it a second and it'll load that discount for you. There it goes. Okay, takes a second. So as soon as you hit submit, after this, the next page will be the calendar that allow you to choose the date that you want to start. So you can customize it to your own schedule. Okay, awesome. So yeah, FAST10 is the code, Wilson. FAST10, all caps, FAST 10. Awesome. Okay, Rod says, my app would need a web-based app for the business and a phone app for the people. Could I use Wix for that? So Rod, it depends. I actually recommend that you use something other than Wix depending on what type of app you're building. So remember earlier when I showed you all the different apps? One of the first things that we do on day 2 of bootcamp, I show you which of the 6, there's 6 different types of apps you could be building. And of those 6 apps, you're going to use a different tool based on the 6 that you're building. So that's what we're going to do on day 2 of bootcamp. I'm going to show you exactly what tool to use for you. It may be Wix, but it actually is likely not to be Wix. So we'll see. Stephanie says, my website is not on Wix. Will I still be able to create an app on my web server? Yes, absolutely. Your website does not have to be on Wix. It was just a recommendation. Yeah, cool. Awesome. Okay. What other questions? Iwana says, hello, how do I ensure that someone else will not take my idea? Ooh, this is a great question. So for some reason in tech, we think that there can only be one of something. And we get really weird about it. Like people start to say like, oh, I can't launch. I can't tell anybody about this because somebody might steal my idea or somebody else might do something similar. But imagine that doesn't work that way in any other industry. Imagine someone saying, I can't launch a hair salon because there's already a hair salon in Atlanta. Like there's plenty of people who need their hair done in Atlanta. Or someone saying like Pepsi saying we can't launch because Coca-Cola already exists. It just doesn't make any sense. There are a lot of people who want to drink soda. There's a lot of people who need their hair done. Uber and Lyft both exist. There's a lot of people who want to ride. And so if you're solving a problem for someone, there's enough people, even if there is someone else who does that idea. And I bet you, by the way, that there already is someone else who's doing something similar to what you want to do. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. That tells you that there's a market for what you're doing. Now, what you need to do, though, is you need to find a specific niche focus, a specific spin on it that your app is going to take that makes yours unique. And so we're going to talk about that in day 1 of bootcamp. What is going to be the specific spin you're going to put on your app that makes it very hard for anyone to compete with you? Okay, we're going to be talking about that on day 1. April says, if you have multiple app ideas, how do I handle that? Like, what do I do if I have more than one app idea and I want to do bootcamp? So you can absolutely use bootcamp to handle more than one app idea. But here's how I recommend you do it. I recommend you do go through bootcamp first with one idea. And I'll help you on day 1 and 2 pick which idea you want to focus on. So you don't have to know in advance. But I recommend you do one bootcamp with one idea. Then the thing is that you're going to have lifetime access to the bootcamp. So you can have one app built and then come back and do the whole process again for a second app. And you can do that as many times as you want because you have lifetime access to the program. In addition to that, every single Tuesday evening, I do a class for all alumni of bootcamp. So this is what happens in that class. Like, people already have their businesses up and running. They're already going. And what they do is they will just say, hey, I'm coming back because I have a new client and I'm not sure exactly what to do with them. Or I'm launching a second business because my first business is great and I need some questions answered about that. So you can absolutely use more than one, but I recommend you do one at a time. Awesome. Iwana says, do you help make sure we have a successful / profitable app? Yes, absolutely. That is my whole focus. I am not going to let you just build the app and not have profitability and success and customers around it. That's not what I focus on. What I focus on is helping you build the business of the app and the app, because those things have to go hand in hand. You can't have one and not the other. So that's actually the main difference and reason I would say the bootcamp is different. Okay. Tyree says, can you please address people who aren't able to sign up by midnight, right? Like, I want to get into bootcamp, I want to do it, I just can't sign up by this evening. So that is okay. If you sign up by this evening, you're going to get the 2 bonuses that I mentioned. So the 10% discount and the 2-hour live session with me. If you sign up after that, you have until Sunday to make your decision. So enrollment closes on Sunday. So if you sign up on Thursday or Friday or Saturday or Sunday, you can still get in, but you're not going to get those 2 bonuses. Those 2 bonuses expire tonight at midnight Pacific time. I think it's like 2 a.m. Central Time, 3 a.m. Eastern Time is when those 2 fast action bonuses expire. So if you want the 10% discount and the 2-hour live session with me, you want to get in now. If not, you have until Sunday to get enrolled. Okay. And Lydia, I think that answers your question as well. Okay, so Lee says, if I have a business app idea, is the program helpful for me? Yeah, this program is only for business app ideas. So absolutely, yes, you want to have an app that is a business. It needs to be a business. And I'll help you if you're not, for those of you who are not already clear on what that looks like, I'll help you. But Lee, absolutely, that's what we're doing here. Okay, other questions. And actually, I see a couple more people have signed up in addition to who I already acknowledged. So see, Ebony and Della and Naisha are signed up, the 3 of you guys. And Naisha, you're paid in full. Ebony, you're paid in full. So you got those bonuses, the 2-hour live session with me, and the 10% discount. Let me know in the chat for the 3 of you guys why you decided to sign up. And let's see, if you've already signed up and you haven't told me why you decided to sign up, please let me know in the chat. Okay, other questions. Angela says, if I have an app, the doctor / pharmacy pays $3.99, but to the consumer, it's a free app. When you say $3.99, it's $399 or $3.99. If that's the case, if it's $399, I think that's a perfect business model. And yes, absolutely, I'd love to help you get customers for that so you can start collecting that $3.99. Awesome. Okay, other questions. Ingo says, thanks so much. Like I said, I'm in Nigeria, so this is about the 3 months pay. Got it. So I think you might want to look at I don't have a 3 month payment plan, but I think you want to look at the 6 month is probably a better fit. Okay. Amber says, do we share rights with your team like they do on Shark Tank? No, absolutely not. So you keep 100% of your business. I do not own or want to own any of your company. You're going to keep all of it. I would like to see you have all of your options on the table as you continue on. If you do want to do something like Shark Tank afterwards, where they give you money and you give them a percentage of your company, you're welcome to consider that. And I can help you think through that process. In general, the process of having investors we'll talk about. But no, you're not going to share any rights. You'll own 100%. Thomas says, are you open to doing a paid live session only? So all the live sessions that I do, and I do regular live sessions weekly inside of bootcamp. And so all the live sessions that I do are built into that curriculum, and you'll have access to them in bootcamp. Iwana says, do we need to patent our app first? Patent or copyright or any of those things? No, you absolutely do not. In fact, I recommend that you only do that after you've made your first revenue with your app. Here, why do I recommend that? Because when you do those sorts of things, those processes, you have to outline all the details of your app. And in the beginning, though, you're making changes and tweaks to it. And so it would be annoying if you had to make a change and then you had to go back and redo that whole process all over again. So I recommend you do it a little bit later in the process. Christopher Medlock says, is this really live? Absolutely. I'm talking to you. Awesome. Tasha says, congrats on signing up. You're joining Tasha in the group. I love it. Tasha, did you tell me why you decided to sign up? I don't think I saw that. Okay, Ashley says, my app would need to pull info from users' bank accounts in real time. Can any of the platforms do that? Yeah, absolutely. We can pull that from bank account information in real time. That would be included in the advanced app guide, but you'll get access to that. It's one of the more advanced things you can do, but you can absolutely do it. Okay. Corey says, what if my app is not working right? Can you help? Yeah, absolutely. So what we're going to do, Corey, is this. We're going to take the app that you already have, and we're going to essentially make a copy of it, but we're going to do it in a way that actually you can make your own changes to. So I'm going to guess, Corey, that you hired someone or a friend did the coding for the app for you, right? And the challenge with that is that if the app stops working, you can't do anything about it, or you have to keep shelling out money every time you want to make a change to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to just restructure it very quickly. It won't take much time. But we're going to restructure it in a way where you can make your own changes at any point you want. And that way it's sustainable for you. You don't have to pay anyone any more money to do it, right? You can just make your own changes. Okay, Marquise just signed up and did the monthly plan. Awesome. Marquise, let me know in the chat why you decided to sign up. Let me know why in the chat you decided to sign up. Okay. Okay, Nikisha says, what if you have a business partner? Will we both need to pay the $1,900? Great question. So if you are working on your company with someone else, you only need to sign up for bootcamp once. Now, if let's say you and your friend have two totally different business ideas, then you need to sign up for bootcamp separately. But if you are working on the same exact company, then you can sign up together and that's just fine. Yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Lee says, can we build an app similar to Uber to track sign-up users who will be working through the app that I created? Yeah, absolutely you can. I'd be happy to show you how to do that. And Thomas had a similar question. Can we use real-time GPS tracking? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Okay. Oh, Tasha says, the reason I signed up is I've been following your training for 7 months. And I was nervous about signing up because it's a big commitment, but I'm ready to do it. I love it. I'm excited to work with you, Tasha. Okay. And I see there are a couple more people who are getting signed up. So Jessica, Wakira, and Deja just signed up. The 3 of you guys too. And Neil, you just signed up. Okay, so those 4 of you, Jessica, Wakira, Neil, and who did I miss? Deja. Let me know in the chat why you decided to sign up. So excited to work with the 4 of you. Okay, Joseph says, just to clarify, you focus on creating business apps, correct? Joseph, what do you mean by business apps? I want to understand what you mean by that. So what I'm talking about are any kinds of apps, but the app has to have a business that goes along with it. And what I mean by a business is a way to make some money. Otherwise, you're hustling, you're working really hard, and you're broke for it. And that is not my goal for you, right? So when I say apps that have business components to it, what I mean is that an app that has a plan for making money. That's what I mean, and is generating revenue. But any kind of app that you want to build is useful here. Okay, next question. Okay, so there's a question. So my screen went out. How much is the monthly plans? Let me go back and show prices for you guys. So, go back. Okay, so bootcamp is $1,900, or you can split it up into 6 payments of $380 a month. Now, there's a couple fast action bonuses that you can use. So the first one is a 10% discount. So it takes it from $1,900 and it brings it down to $1,710, right? The discount only applies when you pay in full. Doesn't apply to the payment plan, but you have a 10% discount. In general, it's much cheaper to do the pay in full. So there's after that code bootcamp, the training. Then I'm going to pay for your website costs for 3 months. There's the advanced app guide for the fancy stuff, 7-day email list builder for the marketing stuff, plus a 10% discount. Then the second bonus that you have is a 2-hour live session with me where we're going to set up your app business plan, figure out who your perfect customers are, how much you should charge them, get your plan all in place. And so you also will get that when you pay in full. Unfortunately, you don't get that when you do the payment plan. So those two bonuses, they expire at midnight Pacific time, and they're just when you pay in full. Okay, next question. Tony says, can you build an app where you can track people's work the way they do with Upwork? Absolutely. Absolutely. And you can probably specialize it to a particular type of worker who has some sort of specific, unique needs. Awesome. Char says, just signed up. I'm so excited. Char, why did you decide to sign up? Let me know in the chat why you decided to sign up. I would love to hear that. I'm always curious. Okay. Oh, and Marquise, you told me. So I decided to sign up because I want a big impact on the world and I'm ready to change my life towards helping others. Oh, that's awesome. What a great answer. Nice. Excited to work with you. Okay. C says, questions. Which tools would be best for a meditation app with audio? Ooh, okay, great. So see, here's the thing. I did not tell you all of the different tools. Like I just showed you some of them. I didn't show you all of them. So there's a tool that is going to be best for you. I can't tell you that tool. You need to be in boot camp to know that exact tool. But a tool that will get you close. It's not my number one recommendation. It's my number 2 recommendation for you is AppSheet. AppSheet is the name of the tool. But there's one that's a little bit better, easier to use. You'll get it up and running faster. And I'm happy to show you that. By the way, I was just in Spain a couple weeks ago at a meditation retreat. So I would love to be a customer if that is possible. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, Tasha's saying she focused on building profitable apps. I hope that answered the question. Okay, Wilson says, I signed up in full and I'm ready to work. Wilson, why did you decide to sign up? I'd love to hear why you decided. So one of the things that a friend of mine pointed out, I just wanted to share this with you. Share this with me. Wow. Share this with you, is that she said, okay, look around for a second, Tara. I want you to notice something. In general, it is a rule that top performers get coaches. Like you can look around at any industry. Actors, top actors, they have acting coaches. Top athletes have coaches. Top executives, they have executive coaches. Pretty much everybody has a coach but you, right? So my question is, what are you going to do to put yourself in a position where you have the coaching that you need? We like to believe that like people are self-made, they just come up on their own. But once you look under the hood, that's not actually ever what happened. They had a coach help them through the process, right? Like if you think that you're just gonna like figure this out and you can, like for me, I figured some of this out on my own. I did have coaches, but I had to learn a lot of this stuff figuring it out on my own. It took me 3 years, 2.5 years to learn this process and to put it together. If you got 2.5 years, by all means, you can do it on your own, but it is much easier. We'll have it done in 60 days or less when you have a coach. So big difference. So I get to tell you all the places. Like, oh, there's a landmine over there. Don't go over there. Okay, now go to the left, go to the right. Okay, landmine over there. Or if you know where the landmines are of entrepreneurship, it's easier. It's a lot easier. Okay, more questions. So Stephanie says, is the 7-day email list builder only available if I sign up today? So no, the 7-day email list builder you'll get as long as you sign up by Sunday. The 2 bonuses that expire today are the 10% discount and the 2-hour live session with me. Does that answer your question, Stephanie? Okay, awesome. All right. So Edna says, hey, Tara, I would love to have this recorded webinar sent to my email if possible because my husband and I need to be part of this beautiful income generating business. Thanks in anticipation. Okay, here's what I'm going to do, Edna. If you can give me until tomorrow, I can send you the replay. Sometimes it takes like a couple hours for the replay to load up. So I can send it to you tomorrow morning. Now, that being said, if I send it to you tomorrow morning, it's too late for you to get those 2 bonuses. So if you want to sign up now and get those bonuses, I recommend you do that. Otherwise, I can send you the replay tomorrow. That works. I'll send everybody the replay, by the way, tomorrow morning. It just takes a while for it to load, so I can't send it tonight or today. Okay. Ashley says, if we start with the monthly plan, can we pay a lump sum and finish paying prior to the 6 months? So yes, Ashley, you can definitely do that. And you're saying you're trying to figure out like how you can. So yes, you can do that. What you would need to do in order to do that though is send me so you would sign up for the payment plan now and then send me an email and just let me know when you're ready to do the remainder of the payment. And I can do it from the back end, but you have to let me know when you're ready to do that. There's not like a form for you to do that, if that makes sense. So you sign up for the payment plan now, and then send me an email and say like, hey, remember we talked about this. I'm ready to do the rest of the payment. So yes, you can totally do that. And that way it would end up being cheaper for you still. Okay, Wilson says, the reason I signed up is to make a difference plus money at the same time. Yes, like those two things have to get aligned. Like I think about that for myself and my own businesses. Like to me, like I kind of have, after being an entrepreneur, I've been an entrepreneur for 5 years now, right? So I kind of have this criteria of what needs to be in place in order for me to pursue a business idea. And one of those things is like, it has to make money and it has to be able to make a difference for people at the same time. Like if it's just one of those, it doesn't work for me. So I love that, Wilson. That's awesome. Okay. What other questions do folks have? Other questions. Oh, and I wanted to share this with you guys too. One of the things I've been doing is I've been trying to spend more time around people who make a lot of money. Just because like I really want to understand like how do they think? Is it different from how I think? Like all that stuff, right? And when I say a lot of money, like people who are making $10,000 a year and more kind of thing, right? And one of the things that I've learned is the difference in how they think about disposable income. So disposable income, as you know, is like you get money from your job and then you pay your bills and then you've got some like remaining money, right? Maybe it's not a lot, but there's like something that's remaining. It's your disposable income. And what people who make a lot of money, what they do is they take that disposable income. They don't spend it on fun stuff like Starbucks or dinner, like things that aren't going to give them back an investment. They take that money and they reinvest it into themselves, into an asset, into something that's going to help them grow and make more money. It could be coaching. It could be an investment class. It could be something like that to help them make more. And the money that they make from that second thing, that's what they use to have their fun with, right? There's a difference in how they think about disposable income. But you can make that shift in your thinking and how you plan with your money now, right? So how can you take any disposable income that you have and reinvest it back into yourself? Right, to make more, right? That's how you want to be thinking about disposable income. It's the difference I've noticed between how people think about disposable income. Okay, other questions. I want to make sure everyone gets their questions answered. So, and Wilson said, on top of that, I want to be a creative entrepreneur. Awesome. Okay, so Shakira says, what is the success rate for bootcamp? So success looks different for different people, just like you're seeing in the chat, like different people join for different reasons, but I can give you this context. In the first 7 days of boot camp, just for 7 days, 73% of people already have meetings lined up with people who want to be paying customers. 7 days, 73% have meetings lined up with people who want to be paying customers. This is before they're even done building the app, right? And then what is the percentage of completion of the app? Is it 84%? 84% are actually finishing their app in 4 weeks. 84% finish their app in 4 weeks. Now you might be wondering, like, well, wait a minute. I thought the bootcamp was 2 months. Why did they finish that in 4 weeks? Because you get customers on board, we finish the app, but then we've got to focus on the marketing and refining. We've still got to kind of do some additional work on it. So 4 weeks, majority of people have their app built and done. There's some kind of stragglers who take a little bit longer, but that's what that looks like. Cool. Oh, Amber had a great question. How much time do I need to set aside to do this? Like, I need to kind of block my calendar around. How much time do I need? So you should expect to spend 7 hours a week on bootcamp. That includes your classes. So how you do that and how you set that up, I do not care. So you could do an hour every day. That's fine. Or you could just work on the weekends and like binge on the weekends. That's fine too. So you can set your own working schedule, but about 7 hours a week on your business, including your bootcamp work and homework. And what I do with the bootcamp assignments, like there's little mini assignments for you to do every week. Those assignments are the things that move your business forward. So you can literally just do the assignments and that will be what you need to get the business going. If that makes sense. It's not like assignments plus you've got to do this other stuff. Okay. Wilson says, please send me the replay. Also, yes, I absolutely will. Ashley says, got it. Awesome. And let me refresh here and see who else has just got signed up. I want to celebrate with you. Ooh. Okay, let me see. And then I'll answer any more questions. We have a few more minutes. I want to make sure everyone gets their questions answered. That is why we're here. Right? And somebody actually sent a message. I missed that. They said, I wanted to talk one-on-one. If you want to just ask me your question now, that would probably be ideal because we can just hash it out and talk about it as we're here. Okay, awesome. Okay, let's see. What other questions do we have? And who did I miss? Who's already signed up? Leanna, you got signed up. Let me know in the chat why you're signed up. You're paid in full. Christopher is paid in full. Super excited to work with you, Christopher. Iwana, you got in there. Perfect. Charity got in there. I love it. Wilson's in there. Marquise is in there. Tony is in there. Tasha is in there. Super excited to work with you guys. Let's do it. And then Tasha, make sure, I know you signed up like before I gave people the discount code. So remember to send me an email. I'm happy to honor that discount for you. Okay. Next questions. Okay. Corey says, I need my app to answer the phone and add outside background noise. Ooh. Answer the phone. Corey, I have a question for you. You had to answer the phone in a different way than you would normally answer the phone. Can you clarify that for me? Like answer the phone like you would normally answer the phone or in like a different way? First of all, I need to understand that, what you mean by that. Joy says, who is your business coach? Oh, okay. So I have a couple. The people who coach me now, I have two. Let me tell you two. So first of all, I'm in a coaching program that I pay for, Joy. So as I get further along in business, I'll be honest with you, my coaching that I pay for gets more and more expensive because I'm getting access to higher and higher up coaches. So I pay $30,000 a year for the coaching that I do, right? The coaching that I do is part of a mastermind group. It's called War Room Mastermind. Then in addition to that, I have mentors. So you may have heard of the software called Zapier. Wade Foster, who's the CEO of Zapier, he's a really good mentor of mine. You may have heard of a software called Moz. Rand Fishkin, who's the CEO of Moz, is a good mentor of mine. And these are people who, for me, a lot of that looks like, mentorship looks like, I get stuck on something, I have someone to email and be like, here's where I got stuck, I need help, can you help me think this through? Like, I lesson, like, for your first few months of entrepreneurship, you need a coach that's like right on top of you, really helping with all the stages. And then you need it slightly less as you're making money. You kind of need someone to check in with, which is why I do those classes every Tuesday for my alumni, right? There's still some things that you want help with. But Joy, hopefully that answers your question. Okay. Wilson says, can we schedule a live sessions for the 8th or the 9th? For 2 hours between 1 and 3. I'm not sure I understand that. But you should see on the, when you sign up, what the time availability is, and you can just choose the time that works for you for the live session. That's probably the best way to do it. Okay. Shakia says, wow, great. Wilson says, that's dope. I love it. Okay. Yes, I'm going to send the replay so you can check it out with your husband. Awesome. Ricky had a great question. Ricky, great question. What expenses will we incur during boot camp? Great question. So you should expect to set aside about $100 for all of your startup costs. You may not use all of that, but just put aside $100. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you majority, like 90% of the tools I'm going to give you are going to be free. There's maybe, no, actually that's not true. All of them are free or allow you to start for free. But what may happen is you might decide like, ooh, I love this tool. It's working really well for me. I want to go twice as fast on this tool, or I want to do twice as many features. Like an example, I'll give you an example of this. I'm going to give you on day 2 of bootcamp an exact process for getting email contacts for potential customers that match your Fastlane customers, right? So that's going to give you the free plan will give you a certain number of email addresses of potential customers that you can get, but you might decide like, hey, this is working, I want to do more than that. So if you want more than that, you may have to pay for the tool, which then goes into that budget. So you'll likely find that there's some things you want to have like the premium version of a software tool for, and so that's why I was saying that $100. But there are a lot of people in bootcamp who are like, I'm not going to touch that money, I'm just going to do the free version stuff, and I'll wait till next week for my credits to reload kind of thing. So that absolutely works. You can kind of set your own budget with that. Christopher says, my app will enhance focus and performance. Cool. What kind of performance, by the way, Christopher? Like, what kind of focus? All right. Okay. Iwana says, I'm very concerned that everyday people will not pay $50. My boutique, but boutique owners are my fast lane. Yes. Like, this is how it happens for most people. In general, You do not want to market your app to the everyday person. That is not what you want to do. The everyday person is not going to pay you any money. Forget the everyday person. You want to go after a specific type of customer. So boutique owners are great. Now let's think about this. For boutique owners, I don't know all the details of your app, but I'm going to guess that what your app is going to do is going to help these boutique owners grow their business or better engage with their customers or something like that, right? And if we think about it, how much do boutique owners or people spend trying to grow their business and engage with customers? That's worth a lot of money. That's going to help them make more money, right? So we're going to go after them as the customer, the paying customer. We're not going to go after the everyday people. We're going to go after your fast lane customers. Hopefully that makes sense. I know you're already signed up, so we're going to hash through this in detail in bootcamp. Okay, next question. Okay, Corey says, I need to answer the phone in a different way. Well, I wanted to answer and give you a list of places that you could hear sound from X people noise in the background. So here's the issue with this, Corey. This will be a challenge to do with code or without code. Like, it's not a with apps without code thing. It's like having audio be inside of a phone call is something that is very difficult to do because the phone providers don't allow you from an app to interfere with that phone call, right? So that'll be pretty difficult for you to build either with code or without code. It's not an apps without code issue. It's just a technical ability of what you can do on a phone thing, right? Okay, other questions. Okay, Amber says, will the app eventually become standalone, or will they remain strung together? I'm buying. I just have a few clarifying questions. Amber, what do you mean by strung together? I just want to understand what you mean by strung together. I'm not sure I understand that. Not sure I understand that. Let me know. Cool. Okay, I'm going to give Amber. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Any last questions that you have, please get them typed into the chat. Any last questions you have, I want to be able to tackle them before we wrap up. We have a couple more minutes. Any last questions you have, please let me know. And I had a really tough choice with bootcamp because I had two options, right? I could either make the program cheap or I can make the program valuable. Right? And I chose to lean on the valuable side so that you actually have something you can take and actually use to make real money and a real app and a real business. And so in order to do that, I had this trade-off, right? And I chose to make this program valuable as opposed to just cheap. That was important to me to be able to do. Okay, Amber says, multiple applications in the background. So I think what you're asking me, Amber, is like all these tools that I showed you, like you maybe want would combine tools together and kind of string it together. And will the app eventually stand alone or will always be strung together? So in general, Amber, your app is going to be standalone, meaning people can download it from the App Store or you can give them a link to access it. And it will from the beginning, the way that we'll build it together, it'll stand on its own, right? So that's how it'll be set up. I think that answers your question. If it doesn't, give me a little bit more information because I might be missing something and not understanding what you're asking. Lee says, can you have just an app without a website URL? So you mean like an app in the App Store? So you can. I don't recommend it. Why don't I recommend it? Because you've had this experience before. And when you go to the App Store, if you don't see the app at the very top of the search results, and this works kind of like Google, where the more popular your app is, the more it shows up at the top, right? The search results. But at the beginning, you may not show up at the very top. It may take some time for you to get there. So the thing is that if you don't have a link to send people to, that means every time you want somebody to get the app, you have to tell them to go to the App Store, search for this term, scroll, and then you'll find it. Some people will do that scrolling and some people will quit, right? And so you want to be able to say, here you go, boom, and get them into the app immediately. So I recommend that you have a link that you can directly take them to do that, Lee. And I'll show you how to do that. Okay, Maria says, thank you so much for your time. Totally worth it. I am so glad this was helpful for you. Awesome. Okay, Tarim says, thank you for everything, Tara. I'll be ready for you tomorrow. Good night, you guys, and we all be successful. I love it. Excited to see you sign up tomorrow. Amazing. Lee says, thank you for the value. Amber says, it's okay, good. I'm glad I got you clear. Joy says, how did you meet your mentors and coaches? Great question. Some of them I paid to work with, and some of them I communicate with and have developed a relationship with actually on Twitter. And then I reached out, they reached out. So one of them, they asked me to speak at one of their conferences, and we developed a relationship that way. Another one, they were saying, like, I'm following your work. I really like what you're doing. And I reached out to talk to them. So either way. Corey says, can you have a rating system for the police? Yeah, absolutely. So we can do like a ratings and review system. People can rate 5 stars or however you want the rating system to work. They can give comments and feedback on people or on departments or on precincts, etc. Iwana says, are there fees to get a company to host our app? So remember when I told you the software tools, they start at a free platform, but then the prices range if you want to do the fancy stuff from $20 to $60. So that's the fee to host your app a month, $20, $60 a month. Tasha says, are the Tuesday sessions mandatory? The Tuesday sessions are not mandatory. I recommend you are there. The thing that's mandatory is the first 2 days of bootcamp. You have to come to that. And if you can't, we'll reschedule it to a day that works for your calendar. Cool. Okay, any last questions? Last call for questions. Again, you can get signed up by going to join.appswithoutcode.com and put in the discount code FAST10, all caps, FAST10, FAST10, FAST10. And I just want to end this by reminding you something, because it's important, which will remind you that you get to choose what your life looks like. You get to choose it. You get to put the resources in your way so that you can choose what your life looks like, right? For me, one of the things that's important is I like to have location independence. So last month I was in Spain for the whole month. I brought my laptop because I could work from anywhere, and I had my laptop and Wi-Fi, and I was working from Spain. In July and August, I'm going to be in Buenos Aires. It's important for me to have that kind of lifestyle. My question to you is, what is it important? Like, if you could dream up anything, what would your life look like? And then what do you need to do to get yourself on that path? Because you get to choose. You choose what you want. Like, we often think like, oh, life, you just like can't have all these things. No, you can. You can. You have to put yourself, you have to do the work though to get there. So bootcamp is intended to help you have the process and the roadmap for what work you need to do. I'm going to help you know what steps to take, right? But you get to choose what your life looks like. You do. Okay, super excited to work with all of you guys. Let me see, there's probably a couple more people who just signed up. If I did not call your name out and celebrate with you, I'll send you an email. If you're in bootcamp already, super excited to work with you. Again, just quick reminder, the deadline for the bonuses is at midnight tonight, Pacific time. After that, if you missed that deadline, the deadline is on Sunday. And that's the last deadline to sign up. But if you want to get the 10% discount and the 2-hour live session with me, you want to get in by midnight tonight. Cool. All right. I will talk to you guys later. Have an awesome evening. Bye.